Hey everybody, and thanks for tuning in to Woodcrest Bonsai. Since I showed you cutting that gigantic air layer of a Brazilian rain tree from my tree I have in the ground, I thought I'd show you the one Brazilian rain tree bonsai that I have. And this is a tall tree, a big tree. It's 28 inches high and 34 inches wide. And I've got the camera so far back that it's a little difficult to really see the nuances of this tree. But right away we see that it still needs some work. First of all, this space right here needs to fill in, and we need some of this to come in here, fill in. The main branches could be brought down a little more, both of them. And actually, this tree looks really straight with the front that I've got right now, but it actually has some motion that got it on a turntable. So if we spin it to like there, you see that it's got some very interesting motion in here. And even at that, the first and second main branch are really still in pretty good position. So I'm thinking very seriously of changing it to something like that as the front. This tree is also an air layer. And right now it needs a little bit of trimming. And I think I'm going to stop the camera and also bring it closer in so you can see some of the detail of this tree. So I'm going to do that right now, and then I'll be back. Looking at the detail of this tree, you can see it's beginning to get that strange knobbiness that Brazilian rain trees get. This is also an air layer, so some of the roots are not perfect. I would really love to take some of these roots here that are shooting this way and have them come out like that. And in the next repotting I can probably do that. The roots are a little bit too high. And then we've got some knobs. There's a knob right here, and a knob right here, and another huge one right here. And those are limbs that I removed when I first styled this tree. And Brazilian rain tree tends to die back when you cut. So that's why I have those knobs, so you don't cut all the way to the trunk. Because if you do, it can die way back. So this one's a perfect example. There's some live growth right here, but this has died back all the way to there, which is basically the trunk. And I can now take that off, or even turn it to gin, because most tropical trees don't really have hard wood, but these guys seem to have pretty hard wood. And here's another one that hasn't really died back, but has not sprouted either. And there's another one down here that has a lot of dieback. So when I'm trimming, especially major limbs on a Brazilian rain tree, I really try to leave them long and then let the dieback occur. Sometimes if you cut all the way to the trunk, like right here, it can die all the way down the trunk, sometimes even to the base. And I think I'm going to trim this guy while the camera's freestyle. So I'm going to take off some of this stuff on the top. So I'm just creating a canopy. So like this guy here has grown out a little bit too much, and I really need space in here. And I'm also going to trim back this main branch. There's a lot of growth that's shooting up that can be removed. that will give it a more horizontal look. And then this main branch here too has some growth that's shooting up. My rules for cutting branches is to shorten the upward growing branches and completely remove anything that's growing down. And try to get, this one has pretty good ramification here. So you can see the branching comes out and there's some more here. So horizontal ramification, but not too tall and nothing growing down. That's what gives you the look of an older tree. So I'm going to do something up in here. The Brazilian rain tree grows with a flush of growth so that there's a little bit of growth right here, the brand new green. But typically what happens is it will harden off and then the whole tree will just explode with growth. Poof! And typically when I do that, especially on this tree, I just like to come in with my fingers and just pinch off that new growth. It's just so much easier. Here's some right here. Just twist it off, pinch it away, and virtually every single tip can end up sprouting. There's another flaw right here that I never really even noticed. This branch here is cutting right across the grain, so I'm going to shorten it. And that will open up the trunk line quite a bit. And maybe even just take a couple of little of these guys, open that trunk line even more. And when I'm trimming, I don't want to trim too hard unless I'm really confident that that's what I want. So I can always go back and trim some more. So that's looking pretty good. So if we pan out, like I said, I really think this is going to be a better front. So we can accentuate this line here. Let's take that guy off. Accentuate that line coming up into the apex. So Brazilian rain trees are very tropical. So if you're watching this in an area that gets a lot of cold, you're going to want to take precautions to keep it from freezing. And I'm going to do one more thing over here. I just want to take a little bit more off right here. Oh, and by the way, they also have very interesting spines, as you can see. Oh yeah. I have numerous trees with spines, and I'm thinking of making a kind of a tongue-in-cheek video featuring all the trees I have with spines and talk about my fetish with spines. But Brazilian rain tree are one of the worst. You can cut the spines off and they don't regrow because they only grow off of elongated growth, but they're pretty nasty. So that's about it for this guy. It's coming along nicely and I'm pretty happy with it. And it's not perfect. I need to probably change the front and it needs to develop a little more, but it's definitely coming along nicely. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up so we can keep the algorithm sending me to more people. Subscribe and you can watch this tree as it develops even further. Probably not going to repot it this year, probably next year, about the same time. I'm going to give it a year to continue to develop with the idea that the front that we're looking at now, instead of this as the front, which makes the trunk just look way too straight. So I'll be trimming it as if this is the front, even though it's not positioned in the pot like that. And that's, perfectly acceptable for me to do something like that without having to pot it into the perfect position right today. Just know that I'm going to change the front and work it as if this is the front. And then when it's time to do the repotting, change it so that this is the front. So thank you so much for watching as the birds serenade us, as they do almost every morning. And I will see you in the next video.